video we'll talk about the most important character-defining techniques in Smash, in my opinion. Now there are many techniques which didn't make the cut into this video, so if you're interested in a character who didn't get a lot of love, then feel free to go to smashboards.com or leave me a comment below, and I'll try to get you some more information.
It would often be useful to be able to turn around while we're in the air, either to be able to get a better aerial out or interact better with the edge. But not all characters have this built into their jumping kit. However, we can achieve the same result with the neutral B turnaround technique. This is simply if we press our B button while we're in the air and we hit backwards at the same time, we'll turn around and do our B button in that direction instead. So while this actually can be used on all the characters, it's not something that all the characters will actually use in practice. So while it's an opinion on which characters you're going to want to use this technique on, I think all people would agree that Donkey Kong uses it the most. But Donkey Kong has another oddity with his neutral B that we should talk about. If you're in the air, you can charge your punch, and you'll charge it all the way up until it's charged fully, and you won't be able to do anything until it's charged. So if you accidentally do it while you're off the edge, that could be bad. However, it's not actually that bad, because if you're in the air charging Donkey Kong's punch, you can tap Z at any time to stop charging and regain control of your character. So with Donkey Kong, our neutral B turnaround's a little bit more complicated. We do backwards and B just like normal, but then we tap the Z trigger right after to gain control of our character. We can do some really cool stuff with him. For example, an easy thing is if you're running off this edge, you can do a neutral B turnaround to edge hog. So I do backwards and B and then immediately tap the Z trigger. If I miss the Z trigger, then I'll just float past the edge and I won't be able to get it. So it's really important that you make sure you're tapping Z before you land, because it's pretty easy to kill yourself as Donkey Kong. Once you're comfortable with that, another cool thing you can do is if you run off this platform, you can do a forward air and then neutral B turnaround and get the edge. While you're learning, you might need to up B instead if you're not super familiar with the timing, but you can do it without the up B once you get a little bit of practice. You can also do some cool stuff with Samus, pretty similar actually. If you run and you fast fall down air off this platform to get a spike, for example, you can do a neutral B turnaround and then up B and recover, even though you fast fell, and that's pretty cool. Samus's neutral B, you can't charge in the air, so she'll just immediately shoot a shot, but it will give you a little bit of a boost, sort of diagonally backwards, so it actually helps you to recover a little bit when you use that turnaround. You can do some other cool stuff with characters, so I'll show you that. And it's really up to your creativity on what you're going to use this technique for.
Donkey Kong uses a neutral B turnaround to tech chase Captain Falcon. He's then able to survive a risky spike play, thanks to another neutral B turnaround. After getting him off stage, Link's able to abuse Captain Falcon's poor recovery with a neutral B turnaround and an up B, keeping him away from the stage. Similarly, Luigi bounces a projectile off the wall using a neutral B turnaround, and then does a ledge hop to finish the kill.
Double jump canceling is arguably the most important character-specific technique in the game. This is to the point that if you're playing Ness or Yoshi and you're not double jump canceling, then you're playing them very suboptimally. So the double jump cancel will remove a lot of the momentum from Yoshi and Ness's weird second jump. So if I stand underneath Luigi like this, and I do jump, jump, neutral air, then most characters are going to rise up and hit Luigi with the neutral air as they're going upwards. But on Ness and Yoshi, if I do this, then you'll see that my upward momentum is cancelled as soon as I neutral air. So I don't ever end up hitting Luigi. And this is interesting because it can let me do ultra short hops. My short hop on Yoshi takes me about to the level of the small platforms on the side. But if I tap it twice, then I can do short hops which are about half the height of normal short hops. I can also change my momentum really well in mid-air and come back down on opponents with aerials. Now there's a lot of stuff that double jump canceling can be used for, and it's also a really broad topic that you could spend a lot of time on. I'm just going to focus on some of the big points that I've come across as I've played.
Yoshi's double jump cancel can give him a burst of horizontal momentum, or be used to change his momentum in midair. Small changes in timing can have a huge effect on Yoshi's trajectory. Finally, try using a fast fall into a double jump cancelled aerial to surprise your opponent. While Yoshi is all about timing, Ness is all about speed. He can combo characters effectively if he double jump cancel up airs quickly enough. Ness gains immense horizontal momentum when double jump canceling backwards, and often uses this for spacing. Replace the standard rising falling down airs with double jump cancel down airs. There are a few hand positioning tricks to achieve speed with Ness's double jump cancel. The way I like is to slide my thumb from right to down C and then hit the A button. As you can see, this gives you really quick double jump cancel up airs, which I can use to combo. Other players like to use left C to down C to A, and they do this by turning their thumb onto the 3 buttons as opposed to sliding. Finally, there's the Fyro technique, named after one of the best North American mains for Ness. He puts his thumb all the way sideways on top of the controller so that he can roll down the 3 buttons. Let's interpret 2 different button sequences for a double jump cancel on Yoshi. In the top one, the big gap between the C button presses means we have a high jump, but the small gap between the C button and the A button is a downward trajectory aerial. So this is probably a dodge and counter strategy, where Yoshi jumps up high and then comes back down to dodge and counter his opponent. In the second one, the 2 C buttons are close together, so it's a low jump, but the medium spacing gives us a horizontal trajectory. This likely means we're going sideways to do something like tech chasing on Yoshi, and we can use the horizontal momentum from a double jump cancel to chase people who are rolling. With both characters, shield breaks are all about speed. Yoshi uses neutral airs and then a down smash if his opponent is in front of him, and an up smash if they're behind him. With Ness, you can use most aerials, but neutral air is the easiest if you're good at Z canceling. Just make sure that once you do get a shield break, you actually have a real combo in mind. The horizontal momentum from double jump canceling makes both Ness and Yoshi excellent tech chasers. Yoshi uses his double jump cancel here mainly to predict and react to Link's teching. Even if he's a little bit late, Link will have to shield, which would result in either a break or a grab. Ness can reactively tech chase extremely well on platforms. After he down airs Kirby and Kirby techs in place, Ness simply fast falls and does another set of down airs. However, this time Kirby tech rolls, so Ness uses his horizontal momentum from a double jump cancel to chase him. Finally, when Kirby fails to tech, Ness uses his double jump cancel to stall out his momentum, dodging the get-up attack and getting the final hits on Kirby.
Jab grab is the weird technique that Luigi, Mario, Ness, and Pikachu can do. The easiest way, I think, to explain it is just to show you. If I down air this fox and then grab him, the combo is at 8 and he's at 36%. Instead, if I jab grab him, see the combo goes to 9 and he's at 38% after I throw him. So what I did there is I did the jab grab technique, which is when I jab and immediately sort of like cancel my jab with my grab, except the damage will still come out. So to do this, you just press A and then R right after. It's as if you press them at the same time, it's just A comes just before. I'll show you why this is useful.
Honestly, this is a bit of a silly example, but it goes to show that damage matters, and jab grab can give you free damage. Ness's back throw on Pikachu doesn't quite kill him the first time, but when he does it again with the jab grab, it is enough to earn him the stock. A lot of people don't know that shield jumping will give you 1 frame of invincibility, as seen by the blue flash on the hitboxes. Now 1 frame's not very much, but it can be the difference between avoiding a grab and not. This is the second reason that jab grabbing is a useful technique. It can help you confirm grabs on shields. because one frame of invincibility is not enough to dodge both the jab and the grab hitbox.
The parry technique lets Yoshi use the shield in the first few frames of the animation to avoid taking damage just by shielding, but also to avoid taking shield stun. So let's say I'm fighting this Samus and dodging is out of the question when she shoots the charge shot at me. I pretty much have two options on most characters. Take the damage, which is a lot, and it actually might kill me if I'm at a high percent, or I could shield the attack, and I take the shield stun. That's a really big issue. Although I don't take the damage, you'll notice that I let go of the Z trigger as soon as the bolt hits me, but I don't regain control of Yoshi for a little bit after that. And this gives Samus all the time in the world to run over and grab me, or get good position on the map, maybe charge up a new shot, whatever. But with Yoshi, we're able to parry this attack by shielding right as it hits us. You'll see that I regain control of Yoshi immediately after I shield, but I also don't take any damage, so it's like the best of both worlds. So to parry, it's the first 4 frames of Yoshi's shielding animation. So if you just tap and release the Z trigger quickly, you'll see that he does a weird little, it looks like his up tilt almost, and he doesn't pull his shield out all the way. So actually the 4th frame of Yoshi's parry, his shield will come out, so you might actually see his shield pop out and still get the parry. That's a little more rare. But the idea is that when you're using this technique, you should be doing out of shield moves as much as you can. And the most prevalent of these will be shield jumping. Because when you shield jump, you gain this parry invincibility and the shield jump 1 frame, which we talked about earlier in the jab grab section.
Even in the simple act of jumping onto a platform, an experienced Yoshi player will make use of his parry by shield jumping. They get the extra frames of invincibility virtually for free. And even though it may not seem like those few frames are meaningful, any time where you're invulnerable is a huge, huge boost. All you have to do is hold the Z trigger before you jump, and you'll gain these invincibility frames. Yoshi dodges Captain Falcon's up smash, and is then able to double jump cancel to punish him with a combo. But if Yoshi parries instead, he's able to parry the up smash instead of having to dodge it, and does the same thing. But this time, since he parried, he doesn't have to rely on his reflexes nearly as much.
Luigi and Mario both have excellent recoveries, but many people don't fully utilize them because they don't use the rising tornado. It's a really simple technique. The more you spam the B button while you're in your down B with either Mario or Luigi, the higher you go. So if I press B a couple times, I go sort of high. I press B a lot, I go pretty high. This is something you need to practice. And there are some important specifics about the technique which I'm going to talk about, but before I just want to say 2 things. Number 1. If you cannot down B from the ground onto the top of the small Dreamland platforms, then you should keep practicing until you can do that, because if you can only get it just a little bit up, then you'll probably get a net loss in altitude if you try to use it to recover. So make sure that you can at least get on top of these platforms. The second thing I want to say is you can only use the down B once in the air. Obviously they'd be really overpowered if you could just spam as many times as you want. So you'll see on that second down B, I didn't gain any altitude even though I was pressing the B button. But this is a little different from Melee. If I down B, I can gain altitude. And as soon as I touch the stage, my next down B, I can also gain altitude. So there's no weird like charge it up on the stage thing. You just have to touch the stage and you're recharged. So now about the specifics.
These 2 rising tornadoes are pretty much perfect. Notice that going sideways doesn't cost me anything in terms of maximum height. When recovering with Mario and Luigi, you have a jump, a down B, and an up B. But if you try to use them in that order, any competent opponent will punish you, because you're locked in your rising tornado. Instead, you want a rising tornado as early as possible. This allows you to maintain control of your character while you're within your opponent's reach.
Pikachu has the best recovery in the game, but it might be even better than you think, because a lot of newer players don't know about the extended up B with Pikachu. So I'm going to assume that you can do the double up B with Pikachu, and that's when you get 2 dashes out of his up B instead of just the 1. If you can't do this, then I recommend practicing a little bit more. It's pretty simple, especially once you get used to it. All you have to do is pick a new direction with the thumbstick while you're in your first dash. And it doesn't even have to be that different than your original, but it can be directly opposite if you want it to be. Just any new direction and tap it while you're in your first dash, you get another dash out. But we can go further than that, actually. If I get all the way on the side of this platform, I'll do a double up B with Pikachu. The first one vertically, and the second one 90 degrees to the left. We'll see how far we go. So, it looks like we're getting past this big platform, but not quite to the other small platform on Dreamland. But this is a little weird, because it seems like we're so close to the little platform while we're in the air, that we should be able to make it. But we just lose all of our momentum after our up B, so we don't even make it there. This is where the extended up B comes in, and this is what it looks like. So we get all the way past the small Dreamland platform doing the exact same thing as before, and we retain a bunch of this momentum that we had previously lost. So this technique is really easy. It's a great technique because it's very useful and also very easy to master and use every single time that you are doing an up B with Pikachu. All you have to do is let go of the thumbstick during your second dash, just as you would pick a new direction during your first dash to get the double up B. So you do your double up B, immediately let go of the thumbstick, and you have a huge amount of momentum. So I don't really have to tell you why this is useful. You're getting, the extra distance of one of these small Dreamland side platforms, which is great while you're up B'ing. I will mention though that you don't actually have to do a double up B to get this. If I go all the way to this inside platform and I single up B to the right, I land under here. But I can also extend my single thing and kill myself if I wish. So you can use this extended up B on either his first or second dash, but not both, obviously. And once you learn it, it's something that you're going to be using every time because it gets you a bunch of extra distance while you're recovering with Pikachu. Just like Pikachu, Mario and Luigi have a way to extend their up B, so their recovery is even better than it was just with the tornado recovery. So if I'm playing Luigi and I up B from this position, standing sort of in between these platforms, you'll see that I land on the top platform to the right side, and I have a pretty strong angle to the right. In fact, my face sort of hits the platform as I go through it. This is what the extended up B looks like. As you can see, I shoot vertically upwards, and I don't hit any of the platforms, and I attain a much better maximum height than I do with this normal up B. So as you know, right after you up B, you can sort of pick a direction during the starting frames of the move. So if I up B and immediately hit to the right, then I'll do an up B very strongly angled to the right, and you'll see that it's angled so much that I don't even land on this top platform. I can also turn around by hitting to the left, and I can angle it further to the left so that I get an even further angled left up B. So the extended up B is just like this, except it's the hardest one. So what you need to do is up B and then hit backwards and then forwards within 6 frames, which is very, very short window. And I think it's on a controller instead of a keyboard, it's very, very hard to do consistently. However, there's a trick which makes it really easy. So we have to hit backwards and then forwards while we're in our startup frames for our up B. So what we can do is we can up B diagonally upwards in the backwards direction and then just hit the thumbstick over to the forwards direction. So in this situation, when I up B, my thumbstick is going to go to the top left corner, and that's going to get me my up B, and then I'll just swing it to the right and get the extended up B. So this way we don't actually need the 3 inputs of doing up B, backwards, forwards, because we get the backwards and the up B on the same input, and then we're able to just swing the thumbstick over and get the extended up B. And it might not seem like that big of a deal, but the extended up B, we can live through ridiculous stuff with it. You need to be a little bit careful though using this in a game if you haven't practiced too much, because if you don't swing forwards fast enough, you'll just up B away from the stage and look like an idiot. The short hop double laser technique allows Fox to get 2 lasers out in a single short hop. This is a really desirable technique, especially because many people consider Fox's laser to be the best projectile in the game. They think this because This isn't melee yet, so he still has his good blaster, so his lasers have a little bit of stun on them. Also, it's one of the few projectiles in the game that you can't attack through. So the only options you have as an opponent of a fox is to dodge his lasers or to shield them. And in either case, that gives him an advantage in map presence. So before I talk about the technique, I just want to talk about Fox's laser for a little. One of the most important properties is that it auto-cancels on landing. And I'll show you what I mean. If I laser on the ground and immediately hold my shield, when my shield pops up, that tells me the first time I have control over my character again. It's the first time I can move. Now you'll notice that after I laser, I immediately hold shield, but my shield doesn't come up for quite a while after that. So, I mean, I guess it's really important to Fox to do his little spinny and put his gun back down in his pocket. But you'll notice that if I do a laser while I'm in the air, I immediately get my shield out as I land. And this is because lasers auto-cancel. So you can see that my movement is quite nice here when I'm doing lasers before I land, whereas it looks really bad if I'm just doing lasers from the ground. So the lesson here is always laser from the air and never from the ground. So now about the actual short hop double laser technique.
To short hop double laser, we need to press the C button to short hop, the B button to get a first laser out, and then the B button again to get a second laser. So the obvious way to do this technique is to just have 3 motions for your right thumb in hitting those 3 buttons. However, we can also minimize our work a little bit by sliding from the left C button to the B button and then pressing the B button one more time. So now we only have 2 motions for our thumb because we're getting the short hop and the first laser out in the same motion. I prefer the first technique because I find it to be more consistent. But regardless of the choice of technique that you have, there are a couple properties of the short hop double laser that are good to know. So the first is that the first laser is all about speed. As soon as you press the jump button, you need to press the B button. But the second laser is about timing, not about speed. So you'll see here, if I get a good first laser out and then immediately spam the B button again, I won't get a short hop double laser. Instead, you need to time your second laser. You need to give a moment's pause in between your B button presses, and that will get you your short hop double laser. So this is a little bit harder than some of the other techniques we've talked about, but it actually has a decent timing window, as you can see based on the different heights that the second laser can attain. So if you just give it a little bit of practice, it'll start becoming natural after a little bit. Lastly, it's pretty much impossible to short hop double laser while you're running, but you can still get motion out of this technique by hitting the thumbstick sideways after you've short hopped. If you want to turn around while you're short hop double lasering, then you need to hit the thumbstick to the side before or during the first B button press. But if you don't want to turn around, then wait until you've done the first B button for the first laser before you hit the thumbstick backwards. A good drill to get comfortable with a short hop double laser starts with a short hop double laser underneath a small platform, then a full hop double laser so you land on the platform, another short hop double laser, this time on the platform, and then a shield drop single laser. When done full speed, it looks pretty cute, but you should remember that if you're serious about Fox, you should definitely practice horizontal movement with your lasers.
So we talked about how Fox's laser auto-cancels when he lands. In the same way, Fox's down B cancels when he lands. You'll notice I don't take my finger off the B button, but when I land, my reflector goes away. So the idea of the shine cancel is that we jump and immediately shine so that we get the shine out, but we auto-cancel it so we can immediately do another move. And this can be really flashy. If you have perfect shine cancels or near perfect, you can get shield breaks on people. You can do really cool gimps with Fox because his shine has set knockback. And overall, it's just a flashy technique that Fox players really like to abuse. So The thing that you do is you literally just hold down and then slide your finger from left C to the B button. And as you start, it'll be pretty bad. It'll take you a while. Maybe you jump all the way in the air. Maybe you miss the B button and you just sort of jump. But as you start practicing, you'll get much better at it, and you'll get much better shine cancels.
To do Fox's infamous shine gimp, you need to shine cancel your opponent off stage, then fast fall into them and shine again. If you do this in training mode, you can actually get the combo meter up to 2 if you do it quickly enough, which is obviously ideal.
The teleport is a really cool movement option that Fox, Samus, and Jigglypuff can do. The reason it's only them is because there's something weird about the turnaround of their run animation. So you can see that although their turnaround is slow, just like everyone else's, there's a weird burst of speed they get right as they're turning around. So the idea of the teleport glitch is that if you jump right as you're getting this burst of speed, you'll get the speed in the direction you were facing and you were running, and not in the opposite direction that you would get when you turn around. So it looks like this. Now you have to input the jump to get the teleport, but that doesn't actually mean you have to leave the ground. Any move that you can jump cancel, you can teleport into. So teleport up smash, or teleport up B. It's a pretty weird technique, so I'll try to convince you that it's important by showing you some examples and then talk about how you actually perform it.
In this example, we have a Fox who hopes to forward throw up smash Luigi. But if he up smashes while Luigi's still in hit stun, the attack won't hit. On the other hand, if he up smashes so that it hits Luigi, Luigi's no longer in hit stun, so it's not a combo. Instead, Fox can forward throw and teleport up smash, and he's able to connect the attack. In some of these clips, Samus is teleporting, but in others she isn't. Can you tell the difference? My point is just that Fox almost always teleports into an up smash, and Samus's teleport isn't that significant. So for the remainder of this section, I'll show you teleporting using Jigglypuff. There are two main techniques used to teleport in Smash, the flick technique and the scoop technique. Let's start with the flick. This is a good technique to start with because it tells you exactly what you need to do at a minimal level to teleport. So there are 3 things we need to do. Number 1, be in our run animation. Number 2, flick the thumbstick in the opposite direction that we are moving. Number 3, hold this for 3 frames and then jump. Now when I say 3 frames, that's pretty much the same as saying immediately because this game is 60 frames a second. So you're only holding backwards for a fraction of a second before you jump. This should get you a teleport. If you're already comfortable with short hops, then teleport short hopping will be really easy with the flick method. This is because we can literally just replace the C button jump with a C button short hop that we've already learned. Now while you're practicing, your teleports might look something like this. But in reality, we don't want to be retreating on our teleports because that sort of defeats the purpose. So when you're doing the flick method, there's actually one more step, a 4th step, beyond the ones to actually perform the teleport technique. And that's simply to return the thumbstick to the original direction. The second teleporting technique is called the scoop technique. It might be the easiest one to learn because you can do the whole thing with just one finger on the thumbstick. To do it, we have to once again be in our run animation. Then, we scoop in a smooth motion around the rim of our controller pad. So if we're teleporting to the left, we do left to down to right and then end with up. Because we use a thumbstick to jump in the teleport with the scoop technique, a couple things are easier. For one, teleport up Bs and teleport up smashes. If I want to do a teleport up B on Jigglypuff, I just do a scoop method teleport and immediately press the B button. This jump cancels and gets me the up B, which I'm able to slide on through with my teleport. Also, because stick jumps are higher than their C button counterparts,
Teleporting with the scoop method will yield you more immediate height.
As a bonus clip, here's a teleport rest. I do this with the flick technique and a short hop. It's probably top 10 most cocky spacing options in the game.